Oh my god, thank you so much for um thank you so much for helping me to get out of the gag. It's like it really means a lot to me that you helped me. And yeah, like I didn't know what to do, like I've been asking people, like they just put me on the gag and I feel so helpless on that. And thank you so much for helping me. So what kind of favor do you want me to do in return for helping me to, get out of the gag? Also, you want me to okay, you want me to become a model? Really? Like, what kind of modeling is that? With the BOA feather, with this? With the BOA feather, this, like, I'm gonna model this. But I'm gonna be, like, tied up and tape mouth. But I'm just gonna do a photo shoot like that. But I'm mouth gagged with the tape and tape mouth and tied up behind my back with a BOA feather. Okay, sure. I was gonna do that. What kind? Yeah, it's kind of photo shoot. Okay, let's do it. So I'm just gonna put the tape. Okay. Okay. You don't have to chase love or approval, knowing your worth. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to dive into a topic that a lot of us can relate to at some points in our lives: the idea of chasing love and approval. Whether it's in relationships, friendship, or even at work. There's a feeling many of us have experienced, the need to prove ourselves, to earn someone's affection, validation, or approval. But today, I want to remind you of something really important. You don't have to chase anyone's love or approval. Love and respect should be mutual, not something you have to constantly fight for. It's easy to think that we just try harder, like we just try harder, do more or be more of what someone else want us to be. Then we will finally be accepted. But what happens when the effort isn't reciprocated? When we're left exhausted, still trying to prove ourselves to people who don't see our value? That's what we're going to talk about today. Recognizing when it's time to stop chasing, realizing it's not about your worth, but what you're placing, where you're placing that value, and understanding that the right people will see you for who you truly are without you having to constantly prove yourself. Alright, so the trap of chasing approval. Let's start by talking about the emotional trap we can easily fall into when we start chasing approval. We've all been there. Maybe it's with a romantic partner who never quite appreciates what you bring to the relationship, or a friend who only seems to reach out when it's convenient for them. Maybe it's a boss who never acknowledges your hard work or efforts, or a family member who always makes you feel like you're not enough. Whatever the situation, the feeling is the same. You start putting in extra efforts trying to show them how much you care or how capable you are, in the hopes that this time they'll finally see your worth. The problem is, no matter how hard you try, it feels like it's never enough. You give more, but the appreciation doesn't follow. You bend over backwards, but the respect you're looking for never seems to arrive. And at the end of the day, you're left wondering, why am I not enough? Why can't they see my value? The truth is that you're not enough is the truth is, it's not that you're not enough. It's that you're trying to prove yourself to the wrong people. Bargaining in the wrong places. Here's an analogy to help make sense of it. Imagine you have a priceless artifact, something rare, valuable, and one of a kind. Now imagine walking into a pawn shop and trying to sell that artifact. The person behind the counter offers you a low price, not because the artifact isn't valuable, but because they don't understand its worth. Maybe they deal in used electronics and furniture, so they don't see the value in what you're offering. You could spend all day trying to convince the pawn shop owner of the artifact's worth. But the problem isn't with the item, it's with the place you're trying to sell it. The artifacts belong in a museum where people who understand its true value can appreciate it for what it is. The same is true for you. Sometimes you're just trying to prove yourself to the wrong people, and that's why it feels like no matter what you do, it's never enough. When we chase love, approval, or validation from people who don't truly see our value, it's like trying to bargain in a pawn shop when we belong in a museum. It's not about lowering your price or proving your worth. It's about finding the right place, the right people who recognize the value you bring without you having to constantly prove yourself. Efforts should be reciprocated. Now let's talk about efforts. Yes, in any relationship, whether it's romantic, friendship, or professional, it's important to put in efforts. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, communication, and care. But here's the key word: mutual. Efforts should go both ways. If you're the only one trying, if you're constantly giving while the other person is taking, that's not a balanced relationship. It's not wrong to want to be seen, appreciated, or loved. But if you're always the one bending, always the one proving, it becomes a one sided dynamic. And that's not healthy. Over time, it's become exhausting, both emotionally and mentally. Think of relationships like a dance. Both partners need to move in sync, supporting each other's steps. If one person is doing all the dancing while the other just stands there, eventually the performance falls apart. Effort should be reciprocated. If it's not, you're investing in something that's draining you rather than fulfilling you. Letting go of the need to prove yourself. So, what do you do when you realize you've been chasing love or approval in the wrong places? How do you stop the cycle of proving yourself over and over again? The answer lies in letting go of the need to prove anything to anyone but yourself. You don't have to prove your worth to people who can't or won't see it. You don't need to shrink yourself, bend yourself into uncomfortable shapes, or chase validations from those who are unable to appreciate you for who you truly are. It's not about being worthy, it's about knowing your worth and not wasting your time convincing the wrong people to see it. Once you stop chasing, something amazing happens. You begin to attract the right people, the ones who do see your value, who do appreciate you for who you are. These are the people who don't need to be convinced because they recognize your words from the start. It's about shifting your energy away from trying to prove yourself to people who will never understand your value, and toward places where your efforts is appreciated and your worth is recognized. The right people will see you for who you are. Here's the thing: the right people won't make you chase their approval. They'll see you for who you are without you having to prove anything. The right people will value your kindness, your efforts, your talents, and your heart from the very beginning. They'll meet you halfway in relationships and friendships, putting in the same amount of care and efforts that you do. It's not about never putting in efforts. Relationships are two-way street after all. But it's about recognizing when that effort is not being returned, when the relationship is draining you instead of lifting you up, and when you're trying to prove yourself to people who don't see your worth. And remember, you don't have to bargain your value. You don't have to settle for the people who don't appreciate you. Like that artifact in the pawn shop, you belong in a place where people understand your worth, and that place exists. It just might not be where you're looking right now. Conclusion: know your worth and stop chasing. So, if you've been chasing love or approval, it's time to take a step back. It's time to cut. Conclusion: know your worth and stop chasing. So if you've been chasing love or approval, it's time to take a step back. It's time to realize that your worth isn't tied to someone else's validation. You are valuable not because of what others think of you, but because of who you are. And the right people, the ones who really see you, won't need you to chase them. They'll be there,
ready to appreciate you for the incredible person you are. Let go of the need to prove yourself to people who can't or won't see your value. Stop bargaining for a lower price when you deserve more. Know your worth and seek out the people and places that understand and appreciate it. Because once you stop chasing, you will find that the right people are ready to meet you exactly where you are. Thanks for tuning in today's episode. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a reminder that they don't have to chase approval either. Until next time, remember, you're enough just as you are. Take care of yourself and keep valuing your own words. See you guys. Mwah.